You walk into a serene studio, soft lighting, a tray of hand-picked oolong tea. You're handed a tiny porcelain cup and invited to drink slowly, mindfully. The instructor says, be present, notice the aroma. This tea meditation will help you focus better at work, reduce stress, and improve productivity. It feels calming, but then a question arises. Is this what the Buddha meant by mindfulness? Is this the same mindfulness taught in the Noble Eightfold Path, the path that leads to nirvana? Today, mindfulness is everywhere, from therapy rooms to corporate retreats. It's praised as a tool to enhance focus, reduce anxiety, and improve daily life. But in the Buddha's teachings, mindfulness, right mindfulness, is not just a technique for calm. It's a crucial step on the path of liberation. So what did the Buddha actually teach about mindfulness? And how is it different from the trendy wellness tools we see today? Welcome back to Unveiling Buddhism episode 56 to explore the answer. So what is mindfulness really? In the Buddha's teachings, mindfulness isn't just about being present and enjoying the moment or taking deep breaths to manage stress. In the Magga-vibhanga Sutta, the Buddha explained that right mindfulness means enthusiastic awareness firmly applied to 4 areas: the body, feelings, the mind, dharmas, mental phenomena, and Buddha's teachings. This practice helps us see our experiences clearly, to understand what causes dukkha or suffering and dissatisfaction, and what leads to freedom from it. It also helps us break free from the illusion of a permanent self. For example, in mindfulness of the body, we learn to observe the body with impartial awareness, noticing its ever-changing nature and how it functions through the interaction of breath, fluids, temperature, and solid matter. Over time, we begin to see that the body is not me or mine, but a biological process that operates on its own, shaped by natural processes like aging, diet, environment, and health habits. Practicing mindfulness in this way isn't just a wellness hack. It's a vital part of the Noble Eightfold Path, the path to nirvana or ultimate happiness. It results in wisdom and insights. But let's be honest, for most beginners, that can feel like a big leap. So it's completely natural to start small. That's why many people begin by focusing on the secondary benefits of mindfulness, like stress reduction, better focus, or emotional regulation. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we should remember that's not full picture, and it won't lead to ultimate happiness. Those benefits are real, but they are still temporary because they don't address the root cause of unhappiness, which is craving. In Buddhist teachings, craving isn't just wanting things. It's the deep habitual urge to grasp at pleasure, to become something, or to escape what we don't like. As long as craving remains, problems like stress, distraction, and dissatisfaction will keep resurfacing. When we practice mindfulness in a limited way, it may help us cope, but it doesn't lead to lasting ultimate happiness. That's why it is important to get it right from the beginning, not only because it's easier to relate to, but because it brings real improvements to daily life and lays the foundation for deeper wisdom to grow. Here's one everyday way to practice mindfulness: eating. Let us examine it at a beginner, superficial level first. Have you ever opened a snack, said just one bite, and before you knew it, it was gone and you barely tasted it? That's mindless eating, and mindfulness can change that. Mindful eating means paying attention, not just to your food and diet, but to your hunger, habits, and emotions. Learn to ask yourselves, are you truly hungry, or just stressed, bored, or distracted, or just craving for something to bite, or craving the taste of a particular snack? Now imagine this: if you could pause before reacting to your urges, choose healthier foods, stop when you're full, resist that urge to taste unhealthy snacks. Being able to tell yourself no can be powerful. It helps you feel better, improves digestion, supports your New Year's resolution to lose 10 pounds, or even helps you cut back on sodium. These goals are rooted in everyday desires and they are beneficial. But in Buddhist practice, we can go deeper. Next, let us go deeper. When we observe craving without automatically following it, we're training the mind to be free. Remember our discussion on right intention, where we start each day with a determination to reduce craving? Craving for sensual pleasure manifests through all the senses, and in this example, we're focusing on the craving for taste. Beyond using mindfulness just for health or weight management, or to enjoy food more, we can go deeper to observe how craving for taste often leads to mindless eating. Recognizing this is a step closer to real peace. This is how right mindfulness becomes truly alive, not just during meditation, but in everyday life, as we learn to notice the cravings behind our actions and intentions. It applies to how we eat, speak, work, relate to others, every part of life. In short, all our daily activities involving the senses can be shaped by craving or aversion. Without mindfulness, we often find ourselves doing, saying, or even thinking things automatically without awareness. Here's another example. Have you ever met someone whose words always bring joy to your heart? You find yourself drawn to their presence, craving their attention because it feels so good to talk to them. But then, when that person chats with someone else instead of you, you feel a hint of bitterness. This illustrates how the craving to hear pleasant things leads to attachment toward the source, triggering a wave of emotions we struggle to control, all dependent on the changing situations. Now consider work. You may crave the comfort and ease of home and at the same time feel aversion toward the stress of your workplace. That craving and aversion make everything at work seem unpleasant. Do you ever feel that Monday morning dragged? Where do these emotions come from? Now consider the opposite. Now, do you have that colleague who seems to be constantly in the office and avoiding home? That person might be averse to the idea of home because it's a stressful or lonely place. At a deeper level, mindfulness is a training that turns inward, helping us observe the presence of craving and its opposite, aversion. In the Second Noble Truth, the Buddha taught that craving and aversion is the root cause of dukkha, suffering and dissatisfaction. When we practice mindfulness in this way, we begin to gain direct insight into this truth. We see how craving gives rise to unhappiness in our own minds. And in that moment of recognition, wisdom begins to arise. This is how the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, becomes real and relevant. It's not just about chanting sutras or performing rituals. It's about how we experience Dharma in our daily life. Mindfulness also supports other parts of the Noble Eightfold Path. Take right speech, for example. Without mindfulness, we may not even notice when our words are causing harm. But with mindfulness, we can pause, reflect, and choose to speak with kindness and wisdom. You can reflect on how right mindfulness supports the other aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path on your own. This kind of contemplation deepens your understanding of the Dharma. And the next time you meet a fellow Buddhist or a monk or nun, try sharing what you've reflected on. Not just gossip or supernatural stories, but real insights that support your practice.
What you shared sounds like common sense. Honestly, I find it a bit stifling. Isn't it easier and more fun to just live freely, follow our feelings, do what we want? Mindfulness sounds kind of restrictive.
I get what you're saying, and you're right. In a way, it is common sense because the Dharma points to truths we can observe. It's not some mystical tale that demands blind belief. It's grounded in reality. But even though it sounds simple, not everyone has the wisdom or willingness to apply it. That's why many people hear about mindfulness, know it's good, but still don't experience its benefits. Not even the temporary ones like peace or focus. What you are describing is a kind of carefree, impulsive living. Yes, it can feel exciting, but it's also risky, like driving a car while blindfolded. Thrilling? Maybe, but also dangerous and ultimately unwise. Mindfulness may not sound fun at first, but it leads to something far more valuable: clarity, stability, and true freedom.
Why is that considered true freedom? I don't get it.
Let's take a simple example. When you see something beautiful, you feel joy and want it. When you hear something offensive, you feel angry or hurt. These emotions arise instantly. You don't choose them. That's because we are conditioned by craving and aversion. We chase what we like and fight what we dislike without realizing it. We think we are free, but we are just reacting. Just like a donkey chasing a carrot tied to its own harness, driven by craving, always running, never satisfied. That's why you can't just tell someone, don't be angry, and expect it to work. They are stuck. Same with desire. We get pulled in even when we know better. That isn't freedom. It's being controlled by craving, aversion, and ignorance. But when we practice mindfulness as the Buddha taught, with awareness, clarity, and the support of the Noble Eightfold Path, we begin to see these patterns clearly and we stop reacting blindly. We start to choose. That's true freedom.
But why spend time talking about things that sound like common sense? Doesn't everyone already know them?
That's a fair question, but here's something to consider. A true practitioner doesn't dismiss Dharma just because it sounds simple. In fact, sincere Buddhists and great masters rejoice in hearing these common sense teachings because they understand how deep and life-changing they truly are. That's no ego about it. Even the most advanced teachers take delight in the Buddha's words with the same respect as they first time heard them. And out of compassion, they help correct our misunderstandings, not to feel superior but to help us grow. That's real compassion. If you read the suttas closely, you will notice the Buddha often asked questions. He invited reflection, not passive belief. That's how true learning happens. On the other hand, those who only appear to practice may find such topics boring or irritating. Why? Because they haven't applied them in their lives. Instead, they may prefer to talk about supernatural events or lofty concepts that sound profound but don't lead to insight. So here's a simple test. Next time you talk to someone about Dharma, try bringing up a grounded practical teaching. See if they respond with sincerity and clarity. That tells you a lot about the depth of their practice. So what have we uncovered today? Mindfulness, as taught by the Buddha, is not just a tool for modern stress relief. It's a profound practice that helps us break free from craving, reactivity, and suffering. It supports every part of the Noble Eightfold Path, from our speech to our thoughts, and most importantly, it leads us toward true freedom. And while it may sound like common sense, it's the kind of wisdom that transforms lives when we truly live by it. Thank you for joining us today on Unveiling Buddhism. In our next episode, we'll explore right concentration, the final step of the Noble Eightfold Path, and how focused attention can lead to deep peace and insight. Until then, keep observing, keep reflecting, and keep practicing. May you be well, and may the Dharma continue to guide your path.